Every successful person doubts themselves behind closed doors. Every politician has probably had a panic attack in the bathroom at some point in time where they have to look themselves in the mirror and tell themselves it's going to be okay. And that's a vital piece of coming into your own as a human being.
Hey, how are you? Congratulations on Dear Edward. It is amazing.
Thank you.
People need to get their tissue boxes ready, man. It's a lot. But Adriana is the kind of politician that actually cares and one you would vote for in a world of political scandal and corruption. Can you talk about Adriana's desire to honor her grandmother's legacy to serve the public?
Yeah, I mean, part of her desire to serve the public is also what makes her hate politics so much, because she wants to see people get off the streets. She believes that housing is a human right. She believes that healthcare is a human right. She believes that social services are a human right. And she cares so much about people. And so you see that time and again actually get in the way of her campaigning, because sometimes what's true for you in your heart is not the thing that's going to get you the vote. And so I found that so interesting to dive into the inner world of a politician, because we see politicians on the outside and we demonize them and hurl insults at them, and they can never do right by us, and they never will. But to actually consider maybe what they truly believe and what they hold dear is not something that they can advertise, because it wouldn't get them the vote. And she has to wrestle with that, and ultimately has to figure out a way to honor herself and follow what she loves, as well as this legacy that her grandma left for her.
Now, the grief group scenes really stand out to me. It almost feels like a tutorial in acting, with all of you really diving into the emotional beats. Can you talk to me about those scenes and working with your fellow actors in those scenes?
Those were some of my favorite scenes because it was the first time we were all together. Our plot lines are so separate and we're all doing our own thing in our own worlds. And then we got to come together and we'd be like, hey, how's your plot line going? How's your movie going? But what was so special about the grief group, because they begin in episode 2. So we were working with Allison, our director, and she set the scene for what grief group was. She said, hi, welcome to your first grief group scene. I'm your director, Allison. This is a space where we honor those who have passed. In any grief group, people are coming to the table with their loved ones on their hearts, like right there. And so we need to do that as well. And so that doesn't always mean that we're crying and sobbing.
Right.
Maybe we're laughing, maybe we're reminiscing, maybe we're cracking jokes, maybe we're like peeing ourselves laughing because we're just having such a good time. But that's all incorporated in what grief is. And so I felt that grief group was a really, really sacred space. It was we all get to hang out and we get to honor those who have passed. And for me, it became a time to reminisce on my grandmother who had passed several years ago and think about fun memories about her, you know? So yeah, those are some of the most special ones, grief group.
I mean, in those grief group scenes, we really see this form of familial bonds that kind of happen during their sessions. And especially in your character, Adriana's case, we see that with Kojo and Bex, even though Bex isn't at the group, but we see that with them. Can you talk a little bit about how the theme of family, a found family, is throughout the series of Dear Edward?
Yeah, so I think that whenever anything is lost, something is always found to replace it. Everybody in the show loses a loved one, and every single person in the show gains a loved one, because now there's space for it. And so with Bex and with Kojo, she's a bit hesitant at first to dive into this love story. You know, there's work to do, there's people to grieve, there's funerals to plan, there's just so much to focus on. Right. But it's really necessary in her healing process, and it takes her a second to buy into it, to be like, am I going to go on this love story journey? Like, really? Is that me? I have work to do, God. Right. Like, I'm nobody's queen. But Kojo, in his gentle, pure way, just invites her into this experience that is really, really healing for her, because she doesn't cry right away. She doesn't break wide open right away. And it's in relationship with this loving man and this darling little girl that cracks her open and lets her shed the tears she needs to shed in being there for them. So they're so instrumental in her healing journey.
Look, I'm a huge fan of Jason Katims. I think he does such a great job of crafting characters. Can you talk to me about what you wanted to bring to the role of Adriana that wasn't necessarily on the page?
I think at first glance, Adriana because she's running for office and she's a politician and she grew up in politics and she looks like she has all of her shit together. So I was really, really excited to bring her insecurity to the screen because that is a real necessary part of this powerful storyline. Every successful person doubts themselves behind closed doors. Every politician has probably had a panic attack in the bathroom at some point in time where they have to look themselves in the mirror and tell themselves it's going to be okay. And that's a vital piece of coming into your own as a human being. And so I was really excited to show those more vulnerable moments where she has no idea if she can do it. And then shows up and does it anyway.
Well, look, Anna, you did an amazing job on this show. I absolutely love it. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too. Take care.